All right, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose. It's a Memorial Day weekend news update. We're going to clear the desk out here from all the news items that I didn't get to this week that didn't quite fit into this week's video. So hope you enjoy this. First of all, let's start right here. You know, weekend reports, anything goes, right? So I'm going to talk about this today. Jamba Juice, people. Jamba Juice. First time I've been there probably in maybe 5 years. And I couldn't believe the price, folks. This is the extra large size, $10, basically $9.99, folks. And my son, he got an award from his school, so I was like, okay, you get to go wherever you want for dinner. And instead of dinner, he picked this Jamba Juice, $10, folks. You can get a chicken bowl. You can get a bowl at Chipotle for what, $10.50 now? So this is almost as much as a chicken bowl at Chipotle, right? Steak bowl, whatever. Burrito, for juice. And of course, it's, you know, more than juice. It's fruit. And he picked my son picked a peanut butter mood. The thing was like 900 calories or something crazy like that. That's what he wanted, so we got it for him. $10, folks. I remember probably, was this the early 2000s? I used to go to Jamba Juice a lot in the early 2000s. And I remember the extra large being maybe $6. So I guess you could say that's not bad, from $6 to $10 in 20 years. Wow, where'd the time go? So back then I used to go to this gym right next to a Jamba Juice. So I used to just happen to go in there after my workout to get a Jamba Juice. But I thought that was high. I mean, what do you think about that? Is this high for some fruit and maybe some yogurt, whatever they put in there, some juice? Crazy, folks. $10, and then I just freaked myself out 20 years ago. Wow. Anyway, we got a lot to get caught up on today, folks. A lot of news. A lot of things happening with the economy, things that are going to affect you and me, and pretty much everybody down the road here, and even right now, not just down the road, right now. A iPhone tariff could make the iPhone cost $3,500. I don't see that happening, folks. I mean, I've got to draw the limit somewhere. I think inflation's going to get crazy wild, but even this, how's what they're putting out USA Today. If the administration get their way, iPhone could make the iPhone $3,500. We're talking about new tariffs that are likely going to be increased again. And we've got another announcement of tariffs. We also have a EU being threatened now with the 50% tariffs. That's the European Union, folks. That's a lot of different countries. And will that happen? 50% tariffs. In a sharp escalation in negotiations with the European Union, the administration took to social media on Friday, announced he's recommending a straight 50% tariff on this European Union exports starting June 1st, folks. That's about a week away. So it's going to be a wild and fun and hot summer. Hopefully not too mad, but it's going to get even more difficult for people that are barely scraping by now, because I've got some information here that I think is going to give us an indication on what's going to be happening here. It's already happening, but what's going to escalate and get a lot worse here in the coming months here in the summer. Also, something else we're going to get into in a few minutes, a prediction that California is going to be wiped out. We're going to talk about what that means here in a few minutes as well. But first, the retail apocalypse, people. The retail apocalypse, another way of saying it, is the number of retail stores closing this year is going to blow away the previous 5 years that we've seen. And let's go ahead and bring up some numbers on this one here. And let's dissect these a little bit here. So going back here to 2020, it was 9,698 stores closed that calendar year. 2021 dropped down as the pandemic wore off, 5,228. 2022 dropped down even lower, 3,819. 2023, where did it go? Is it on here? Let me look here. All right, I found a better one for us here. It's got all the years in it, laid out in year-by-year order. So this one has 2022 at 1,680, so it was a big drop down from 2021. 2023, just when we said it was going to go up, it did. 5,553. 2024, 7,300, folks. But look at what we're expecting for 2025. This is projected based on the year-to-date closures so far. Could reach 10 to 15,000, folks. So we're definitely going to surpass 2020, I think. Could go as high as 15,000, folks. That would be, 50% more than we saw in 2020, the year of the health crisis. So retail closures now, this year, 2025, are on pace to be as bad as the year that the health crisis was rolled out, folks. That should be a warning sign to everybody. The consumers are reaching the end of their rope. And it's not just me saying that. Look at these other predictions here. And this was an op-ed over at MarketWatch. The mother of all credit squeezes is coming. Hang on to your wallet. Now, it is an op-ed, of course, so take it with a grain of salt. But look what they're predicting here, what they're forecasting. Let me go to my summary here. Consumer confidence is buckling. We talked about it being at a multi-year low, consumer confidence. The debt is mounting, and things are about ready to get a lot worse. Americans just hit their credit limit, literally. With credit card interest rates above 20%, then housing sales plunging. We just talked about that, last report, 2 reports ago? To depths unseen since 2019. We're starting to see the mother of all credit squeezes, right? So there's a lot of warning signs out there, folks, that things aren't doing as good as we're being told. And of course, the administration that's in power right now, they wanted us to believe that on day one, things were going to turn around, prices were going to come down. I think that's what they said, pretty much. But things are getting a lot worse, folks. Retail closings to be worse than the year of the pandemic. Folks, it's going to be a catastrophe. So, nobody knows the timing on this, but you have to say, how much longer can this go? Especially now with tens of millions of people having to pay back their loans. We're talking about the student loans. That's just going to be another nail in the tire. To this thing to go flat and run off the road. And to underpin the cost, the outrageous cost of everything, let's look at the cost of childcare here. And Axios just put this out. Let me bring this up, folks. We've got the darker colored states, the dark green being the most expensive. And we've got a outline up here, all the way up between 40 to 50,000 of the darker colored states here. So we've got one of the worst being Massachusetts. Now, this is for one toddler and one infant, so maybe cut this in half. Maybe they don't charge as much for toddlers. Maybe they charge more. Who knows? I don't know. But $47,000 for 2 kids. So let's just say $23,000 for 1 kid a year. $23,000, folks. In California, the number is $39,000. So basically 29 or 20 rather for 1 kid. And how do people do this? It's almost to a point where if you're going to have a kid in daycare, you might as well just have the mother stay at home unless she's making, more than it costs for daycare. But maybe she's making $30,000, $40,000 a year if she's working part-time. Maybe she's the breadwinner and he's working. Either way, one of the parents would be better off to stay at home at these prices. You've got to make a pretty decent salary just to pay off the childcare, and the child's not going to get as good of parenting if you would have just kept the kid at home and saved between $20,000 and $40,000, depending on how many kids you have, folks. That's crazy. Let me just bring this up here. Look at some of these other states. States that typically you wouldn't think of as being that expensive. Wisconsin, $33,000. Minnesota, $36,000. Washington State, $38,000. Oregon, $32,000. Wow. Illinois, $37,000, folks. We got another expensive one down here. DC, of course. Yeah, $47,000, folks. Insane. I'm glad my kids are older now. And I've never had a kid in childcare. I'm lucky, I guess. And my wife's pretty much stayed home. I've never had to have her work, and we've gotten by. And here in California, that's not easy to get by on one income. So that's why I like to keep an eye on investing and trying to make money. And not because I'm trying to get rich and I want to be the next Warren Buffett or anything like that. Sure, it'd be nice, but after I made my first few million, I'd probably just stop, because there's plenty of other things I like to do besides sitting behind a keyboard investing stuff. But what do you think about this? If you're paying for childcare, let me know, because mine are kind of older now, so I have no clue. Haven't checked on this in years. But what are you seeing where you're at? Are you paying it? That would be awesome if you could let us know down in the comments what you're paying for a child per year, or multiple children. And back to the retail apocalypse for a second here. Estimated between 10 and 15,000 retail closures this year. It's going to be the most we've seen since 2020 if that happens. Will it happen, or will something change to where these retailers are going to be able to stay in business, right? I was talking to somebody that goes to fast food places a lot, and he said that there are talks and discussions, I guess, I don't know if he spoke with a manager or maybe an employee, that a lot of these fast food places in California are really struggling because the cost to pay these workers now, $20 an hour, the cost that they're having to charge for the food, traffic has really dropped off a cliff. Not at all of them, but a lot of the fast food places is what I'm hearing here in California. All right, so that's just one example of how retailers are having a lot of trouble now. And look at this here. In California, fast food workers covered by a minimum wage law, now $20 an hour, established by AB 1228, is higher than the general state minimum wage. The new law took effect on April 1st, 2024. So we have seen a big drop off in traffic, and the prices are outrageous. I mean, it's not just Jamba Juice. They must be in the category of fast food too. Maybe not, but these retailers in California are charging a lot more. Didn't I talk, maybe, was it 3 weeks ago, about what they're charging for hamburgers at a place called Jack in the Box? I think I talked about that. Very expensive, folks. And that's just an example, and probably the most obvious example I can think of as far as how high wages affect the cost of things, folks. You got, Jack in the Box wasn't a hamburger, it was a milkshake. Remember, I said my wife had a stressful day. She wanted a milkshake. We went up there, $5.50 for a large milkshake. After we got out of there with 2 milkshakes, it was $12 because tax added on there. California tax is outrageous. They tax food. They would tax the air that we breathe if they could. It's insane, people. It's just insane. Moving on here, folks, though, even though consumers are in a lot of debt, a lot of trouble, and spending is being looked at more critically by a lot of consumers, they're predicting smash box office here for 2 of the movies coming out this summer. Lilo and Stitch, looking at between $170 and $180 million box office. Mission Impossible, looking at $77 million. Folks, I've never seen one Mission Impossible. I know I'm probably maybe one of the only people on the planet never to watch one of them, but and look at this picture right here. This stuff's just too impossible, folks. When a movie is too impossible, I don't even find it entertaining, right? Like, I'm trying to think, one of the Rambo movies a long time ago when I was a kid, I thought those were entertaining. And you see one guy, taking out like 50 or 100 people all by himself. It's impossible, folks. But it's in the movie, so it's entertaining. My wife says I'm too much of a critic. I should just be enjoying the movie as an escape from reality. But when something's so insane, folks, like people jumping out of helicopters and surviving, and cars flying into space, like what was that movie that had like 10 different sequels, maybe more now? Fast and Furious. I mean, the cars were going to outer space. I mean, it was so crazy, folks. I couldn't even watch it without rolling my eyes. But yeah, that's going to be a box office smash, they're saying here. So people apparently are going to start going back to the movies. I mean, we'll have to see how that goes. We did see a whole bunch of theaters close, though, in the past 5 years. So why now would people just decide to go back to the movies? Because these movies are that good. Lilo and Stitch. I've never seen one of those either. Let me know down in the comments. Dire prediction, though, here, folks. California could be wiped out. Look at this. A tsunami that never ends. A study highlights a looming risk on the West Coast. I'm glad I don't actually live on the coast. I live in California, but I'm about probably 15 miles from the ocean shore, so I don't think a tsunami would come and get me. The tsunami wave from an anticipated earthquake off the West Coast could reach 100 feet and permanently flood parts of the coast. Yeah, so I'm safe. And when I first moved to California, I actually wanted to live on the coast. That was like my dream. And I thought that would be my sign of success if I got a house on the beach. And actually, if I sold everything I have, I probably could get a house on the beach right now. But no thank you. I don't think it's worth the price. I'm not that much of a beach person. The tsunami risk, probably something that most people don't even consider. But I consider those things. Natural disaster risk, I consider those things, but of course I'm in California. I've explained why. But everywhere you look, I mean, look at the tornadoes we had. Multiple states tornadoes. Is it safe anywhere anymore? A huge earthquake is brewing along the Cascadia subduction zone that could destroy bridges, reshape landscape, and trigger a massive tsunami. Scientists have known about the looming danger for years, but ongoing research keeps painting a clearer picture of what could happen among the danger. A huge tsunami that will wash over coastal areas and permanently flood them, right? Well, they've been talking about this for years too. Remember the predictions years ago that California was going to end up underwater? It never happened, folks. Not yet, anyway. Maybe this will be the year if the USA Today article is correct. All right, folks, let's move on to some investing news and info I wanted to get here. We've got some retailers doing pretty good, some not so good. Let's take a look at some comparables here. We've got Walmart, first of all, and this is a one-year chart. Folks, 47% increase for the year. I've got Walmart. That's a nice one. And what did I say a few years ago? And we reported it here. It was in the news that people were downsizing. The people that were shopping at Target were going to start shopping at Walmart. Was that 2 years ago? Maybe 2.5, maybe 3 at the most. Look how accurate, folks, this was as we had reported it. 47% increase for Walmart. Now, I had Target pulled up somewhere. Let me just find it here. There it is. Target. Look what happened to Target, folks. 1 year chart, down 35%, folks. So 47% positive for Walmart, 38% or 35% negative for Target. Just like we discussed here, people were downsizing away from Target, and the people that were shopping at Target going to Walmart. And I think it's obvious in the stock price, don't you? That's a huge difference there. Both major retailers, big box stores as they call them, but your investment would have been greatly successful in one and pretty awful in the other one. And let's round out just a couple more here. What do we got here? Amazon. Amazon, how we doing on a 1 year chart with Amazon? Up 11%. Okay, so not bad. Costco, I'm guessing that's going to be up. Oh yeah, 24%. Nice. $1,008 Costco. Up 24.5% on the year. Let's look at one more. Home Depot. We figured there would be a slowdown because the housing market slowed down. Were we correct? A 1 year chart? No, still hanging in there. 11%, 11.5% up year over year. A 5 year chart, pretty level. I mean, lots of ups and downs, but if you would have held this stock for about 5 years, you'd have been from a 250 up to about 362. Not bad, but I would want a bigger return over 5 years than 50%. Not bad, though. I mean, if you held on to it, it outperformed the housing market. The housing market's not up 50%. Well, in some areas it may be, but overall it's not up 50%, especially now since prices started going down in the housing market. So pretty interesting numbers there, especially when we're talking about the retail apocalypse that's likely to eclipse 2020 this year. So pretty interesting, folks. A couple other articles I want to wrap up here to get this done today, clear my desk. I'm seeing a lot more articles like this, at least 1 or 2 a week, where something like this here. St. Louis man convicted in taking out his landlord during eviction dispute. I'm really seeing a lot of these. I try not to talk about those particular stories too much because it's not the funnest thing to talk about. Somebody got unalived, and some people might have nightmares over that. I don't know, but that's what's happening a lot more, folks. Eviction disputes, and sometimes it gets turns to violence. Unfortunately, I mean that's the sad part of it. When you take away somebody's home, emotions fly high, and fear and anger can easily mount up. And that's why I'm hoping we don't see an eviction tsunami. But then if you ever want to see prices come down, people have to get out of the houses that they can no longer afford. If you can't afford the rent, you're going to have to get out. The eviction moratoriums took that away for years, and that's why rents are pretty high right now. They're starting to come down, though, because these eviction protections are now fading away. All right, people, so predictions of record travel. People are afraid of the airports and what's happening right now at the airliners and the airports. Are you traveling by car? Let me know down in the comments, and let me know if you're out there, going to be out there traveling. Maybe you're traveling as you're watching this. And what do you think about the retail closures on pace to surpass 2020? I think these retailers are going to see a huge drop off in traffic, just like the fast food places did here in California because the prices, they had to raise them up so much to pay these workers $20 an hour. You've got the tariffs, and you've got all the issues here with the retailers. Still a lot of theft happening right now, a lot of shrinkage as they call it. So I think there's going to be a huge drop off at the retailers as well. So I might even sell off some of my Walmart stock now that we're up over 47% year over year. Let me know what you think about any of this, people. As always, thanks for being here. Make sure you're subscribed right here. There's the button. Keep stacking, everybody. Bye for now. Peace.